Good afternoon. A 90-point down day in the Dow Jones Industrial Average isn't all that we talk about. Today, the market was all over the place. Down a bunch, 200-300, up a bunch, 200-300. But the real driving force is regional bank stocks just got destroyed. If you're a regional bank, you're down a lot. And the problem for them is that we've got a bank run going on. Started with Silicon Valley Bank. The reason for Silicon Valley's failure is quite simple. It's management. It was poor judgment on the part of the chief financial officer or whoever does it, controller, where they don't match maturities with liabilities and assets. A good bank practice is to take your assets and have them ready when your liabilities come due. So you've got that working liquidity going ahead. They didn't do it at Silicon Valley Bank. They really mismanaged that part of it, and so we've got a problem. The problem with bank runs is, number one, you can't analyze it. You can extrapolate till the cows come home, but no one really knows where the money is and where it's moving. When the money gets nervous, it leaves the bank and it goes somewhere else. And so we're in the process right now of having money moving, but the rumors are flying about every bank, brokerage firm, and the like. I think it's important to understand something, especially with regard to brokerage firms and custodial banks. These entities put a practice in place, which they call a sweep. Okay, so if you have a portfolio at a brokerage firm and you sell some stock, say $100,000 worth of stock, the firm automatically puts that $100,000 to work in the bank part of that firm. The Merrill Lynch's of the world, the Morgan Stanley's, Goldman Sachs's, Schwab, the big brokerage firms are also functioning as banks. But they don't really mix the two assets together. The assets they're holding on behalf of clients for management and their own banking assets. But when a sweep comes in and it moves the money to a bank instrument to give you attractive interest, then the money's in that bank. Now, as a practice, you need to know that at Cadinha and Company, you've seen, if you're clients, you've seen a bunch of treasury bills keep popping into your portfolio. Well, we've been trying to move the money out of the bank sweep operations into U.S. Treasury obligations, which, I mean, if they don't work, nothing will. A U.S. Treasury bill is perhaps the safest place for cash. And we've got millions and millions of Treasury bills. So we have been taking those sweep funds, which ordinarily might sit there until we make another purchase, but we have been vacating that systematically for weeks now and putting everything into Treasury bills. So if the institution, the bank or the brokerage firm, has a problem, the client assets are safe in Treasury bills. Okay, so from that standpoint, we've taken a defensive step, and the portfolios are structured in a defensive way. We should be okay. But when you get into bank runs, the mindset is so bad, they're absolutely fearful. And they scare people into doing things. But the Treasury bill is the last stop. They should survive whatever the storm is. And I have a hunch we're right smack in the middle of this. The federal government has a practice where they make banks file a risk profile, and they have to pass this risk profile, but they make banks of over 250 billion file. That was President Trump's change. That's one of the things that he raised from 50 billion to 250 billion. I am afraid that they're going to probably opt to throw more police into the affair and make the stress test level at 50 billion, which will incorporate a lot of smaller banks. And in practice, what happens is the federal government will walk into a smaller institution and say, you owe us a stress test. Let us know in 90 days how you come out. So we're going to have all of our smaller institutions, I believe anyway, have to go through the stress test thing, and that'll extend the issues and the fears around the banking community. So this kind of thing isn't settled right away. But I would think that if there is trouble out there, it's going to show its head in the next day or two, because it's getting pretty frightening, and it's just one of those things when you got a bank run mood in the country, not good. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, some of the stocks are going up, and people figure that the Federal Reserve is going to have to stop its rise in interest rates and trying to control things and give up the fight on inflation. I don't know. I hope not, because we've made progress, and this is part of the pain that we anticipate. Remember, we're trying to undo 16 years of irresponsible Federal Reserve management. So we had money thrown at everything, printed money, and the result of that was an inflation. And so now we're looking back and we're trying to correct, change, and fix 16 years. Well, you can't do that without a bump in the road. And the first bump is a bank run fear. Somebody, when money gets tight and the Federal Reserve is withdrawing money, some entity, some person, some organization can't make a payment. That's normally how it happens. It just so happens that this is coming over very poor bank management at one of the banks, and it's set off this fear chain. But let's hang in there, and insofar as our clients are concerned, all the cash, all the money is in U.S. Treasury bills, and it's as safe, I think, as it can be. Logically, if you extend this fear down, then you have money market funds, and people start fearing whether money market funds are going to have a flow out, and that's going to create a problem for the other fund holders that don't leave, and then you have panic hitting money market funds, exchange traded funds, which are really acting as money market funds. It's not over yet. Go buy some treasury bills and wait on the sidelines, because these bank run days are frightening. They're really frightening. In the meantime, there's some bargains popping up. I'm not ready to step into a regional bank yet, but you've got some banks down 20-25% a day in price. There's got to be some bargains out there. The smart investors will look for them. Keep your eyes peeled, and keep a cool towel on your head if you get too emotional. This stuff is frightening. Bank runs are frightening. Anyway, that's all I've got. I believe we've dodged bullets so far, but you need to understand sweep apparatus, and insurance companies have them, banks have them. So if your money is managed that way and its cash is being swept into a fund or a bank certificate or something like that, I would change that. I'd look for U.S. Treasury bills. Thank you.